this is amazing. Oh, it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Fishies in a row. They're here to make a point and to do Eddie proud. They fan out in the background as they come down to turn 1 for the first time. It all looks pretty good, 2 by 2. We'll stop the camera here. Oh, Eddie would be proud, mate. That was awesome run around turn 1. But, oi! Contact with the fishies.
He's made it through. It doesn't look like Angus has made it, but Thomas Freeman's made it through, and Angus is going to suffer the crowd coming through there to be able to turn his car around.
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannon.
Call 134646 for a quote.
And they are off. It was a good start from Dylan De Bono. I think Phil Vella got a great start there in the background as well. You can see already cars going 5, 6 wide as they're trying to find any semblance of space. They come into T1. So far we've got 2, 3 wide as they snake down. It's Michael Conchar that's got around Dylan De Bono. A couple of cars going wide there. Was that a bit of contact in the back? Scott Pocock caught up in that, I think, there, buddy. But it's Michael Cullajar's got past, so Dylan...
Light is coming out and we're about to get going, and we have a green light and a very slow start for the 86s, but they are moving out there on the grid. It would be very interesting to see exactly which driver can capitalise on this first lap. Just go through the grid. Look like Jamie Christensen had a really awesome start to get ahead of Dylan De Bono, and Doug Gowage also jumped his teammate as well, so unfortunately Dylan stalled the car a little bit more than what he preferred. But
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Still great classes of car, and if you are able to, if you're coming up the ranks on iRacing through the licenses, it's a fantastic sort of laneway into prototype driving, going from that GT3 up through the prototype classes. As the safety car pulls in, we get ready to go green as we come up towards the line. Edwards, Hasler, who's going to get the jump down to turn 1, or will any of the fishies, any of the piranhas in behind them, assault them down towards
they're green and they're
this
off.
First lap. Let's go here.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. Oh, it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because
tell you what, Bruce Tannock and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we get a good run. Dodd's just absolutely thinking, but it's a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome back to SRWtv. Tonight we once again jump back into the world of the open wheelers for round 8 of season 2 of the 2024 Shannon Formula 3 Nationals. It's the penultimate round at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca tonight. It's that last chance to use that drop round to your advantage as we close in on the championship finale next week. Calio Rich Sim Racer here. I'm back with Hamish Munro, who once again is on the mic and behind the cameras covering tonight's action as he does splendidly every week. Mate, the dust settles after tonight. We get to see who takes the fight into that final round. Are you looking forward to this or what?
Mate, I could not be looking forward to anything more than tonight for a Wednesday night. At the moment, Cowie, I think this championship is going down to the absolute wire. The last 2 rounds, or last 3 rounds really, have been absolutely crucial and instrumental in how this championship is shaping up. Last week at Montreal, I think it was, honestly, was racing event of the season. Maybe not the race of the season, but overall, the span over it was so enjoyable to call. So much happened in terms of changing of landscapes, changing of who's in this championship battle, to really give us a good template for what we could expect here tonight leading into the final round. Remembering tonight's final drop round as well. So whoever's in the fight, whoever's in with a chance, needs to have a good round tonight. They cannot give up anything to their competitors, because next week they then have to focus on just trying to beat them on track or trying to hold them off. They're already ahead of them to be able to lock out these championships. Obviously, Bono and Gallo, they're close in this one. I think they've got 8 points between them after drop rounds. Absolutely nothing between them. So they're both going to be going tit for tat here tonight. But importantly, Gallo's yet to win a race this season. In fact, no Carlin's motorsport cars have won a race this season in F3s. Imagine if Gallo were to win it without winning a race. Absolute scenes, Gallo, to go 2 in a row. And the season you win your second championship, you don't win a race. It'd be absolutely wild.
I did hear that maybe being your little prediction on the side for tonight. Well, it is going to be interesting. We've seen that Dylan DeMono's decision to watch State of Origin last week. And thank you for everyone out there for not spoiling it for me, even though it was a disastrous night and sledged me. So I'm strong. I can handle it. But yes, it's a big move that he did because, as you said, it squeezed everything right up. And Gallo, well, he's in a position to be able to bounce.
Yeah, he has perfect advantage right now. I think the fact that Daniel Byrne spinning out last week and getting David into P2 on the road in the dying minutes of that race really helped him out. Now, the prediction you're putting into question or putting on point is, I have a feeling, maybe not a feeling, but I'd love for it to happen, and it's nothing for personal preference or whatever. I just think it'd be a great story to have David win it without winning the race. Would be so wild. Like, it would mean that it would be like you've won all these races this season, but it's meant nothing. Or Dylan goes on and wins it after being ultra dominant. Both ends of the spectrum, I think, are favourable in terms of the showcase.
Well, is it a tortoise and the hare moment? You know, the cartoon where the hare is so fast that he then sort of sits down under the tree and he falls asleep and the tortoise wins the race? Is it that moment?
I suppose we could say that. I'm not going to take anything away, though, from David Gallo. It's not like I don't think he's capable of winning races. He's won races before. And it's not like I don't think he can win at Laguna or Barcelona next week. But I just think that'd be pretty cool to win it without even winning a race. Like,
I think I'm probably going to get in trouble for calling him tortoise as well. No. But no, look, it does spice things up. Thank Dylan for his decision to watch the football last week, because it certainly has added a bit of spice. I mean, you know, Roberts, look, he's an outside chance, but he's what, 64 points there behind De Bono once we count those drop rounds. So, you know, he needs a couple of big races tonight and maybe something to happen to our leaders. Now, it is a sprint round, so that reverse top 10 for race number 2 will shake it right up. So anything is possible. And if we'll get a mistake, man, it's one of those tracks, it's easy to make a mistake. And that mistake may cost, you know, not just yourself, maybe some others out there as well.
Well, it not only that, Cowie, we saw last night with the reverse top 10. Now, yes, last night was supposed to be a sprint and a feature, but turned into a super sprint. But we saw that second race had massive implications for not only the race, but also the championship, where, you know, one of the championship contenders could miss the next race. One thing we got to talk about right now, who's on the bubble of that happening to them? Doug Gowans. He's on 9 license points at the moment. So if that happens to him tonight, it means he could miss the final round, and it would mean that Dylan De Bono would have less support to try and win that championship next week. So drivers just need to be a bit careful tonight. And Laguna's a bit tough, but they got to be careful.
Look, it is close, and it's always, you know, something that I suppose as a driver you try not to keep in your mind. But, you know, I've been through my seasons where I've been a bit too aggressive, and race controllers had to slap me on the wrist a few times. So, you know, I mean, it is one of those things, you know, we're out here to race, but we're out here to race fairly and that. And look, you know, we all accept, you know, race control's decision. There's a ticket process if you do disagree. But, you know, it's one of those things where all manner of people are looking at it from different angles, and sometimes, you know, you're in the seat, you don't see those angles. So it is the way it goes sometimes, but you've got to temper that risk versus reward, because sometimes it can come back to bite you in the opposite direction.
That's exactly right. And we talk about the Pro-Ams, Cowie. Hodgkinson and Gerard are looking like the favourable options for that championship at the moment. Kanitska's been a challenger, but he has been marred by the wet races and having to drop out of them, unfortunately for him. And if we were to have a wet race next week, that would take him out of contention, I think. Now, I'm not saying that next week is going to be a wet race. I don't know. But I think the chances of that, you know, it's a 50-50. That puts it out of his favour a little bit, doesn't it?
You're trying to excite me or something, tempting me with a torrential downpour for the finale. That would be unbelievable.
You know what? I'm gonna check the session for next week, Karen, and I'm gonna confirm if we're gonna have rain right now.
Oh wow. That is gonna just throw, you know, the pigeons right out the window, because, again, look, what we want here as commentators is for everything to go down to the wire, only be a few points in position either way, you know, when we get right down to it. And at the moment, you know, things are tightening up. It's you know, it's close in the pros. The Pro-Am, Hodgkinson still has, I think it's about 25 points advantage over Gerard. But tonight, you know, you fall 2 or 3 positions behind in each of those races to the same guy, then, you know, the chances are he can bridge that gap. So it is pretty close there. And the same thing at the AMs. Rossinida's got a nice gap of, is that 63 points after the drop round, back to Timothy Schmalenberg and Matt Teixeira and Greg Johnson, who are all a single point apart. So the battle for second there is crazy. Rossinida, well, tonight's the night where he really solidifies his hold on the championship, or he throws it away.
Well, I'm going to make another bold prediction, Cowie. I think we're going to have a Sinkovic as a champion at the end of this season. I reckon it's Dean's time to shine.
He is a fair few points back, so I'm not sure how far off that gap is, but it's really tight in that AM classification. So it's interesting. Now, one of the other big questions we have to look at, do we have the second Carlin Motorsports driver out here?
Not at the moment. No.
Daniel Byrne.
Oh, wait, no, Daniel Byrne is in the session, which means that he will get to most race starts in the F3 league, surpassing Steve Sinkovic at 110.
And he will be our most capped driver out here. I know that this season he hasn't been able to make all of the races, so that's why he's not sort of factoring in the championship. He's had a couple of incidents across a few of the races too, pushing hard as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he tackles it tonight, because he hasn't been on the top step for a while. And as you said, maybe the Carlins boys are looking to break a little hoodoo here for season number 2.
Well, we'll have to wait and see who is going to get the benefits of the doubt this season. As we currently stand, 18 drivers have now set times in this qualifying session. The top 10 at the moment is Dylan DeBono to David Galley to Doug Gowans. Matt Gerard currently sits P1 for the Pro-Ams, P4 on the road. Ahead of Scott Pocock, Shane Ratcliffe, Kaya Kingsel, Phil Ho, Benjamin Brook, Marcus Knitska, and P1 for the amateurs at the moment, Timothy Schmalenberg.
Evening to you, Stephanie. Thanks for tuning in. Of course, thank you to everyone tuning in on a Wednesday night for our F3 show here. We do love coming to you guys on a Wednesday night. It's all thanks to Shannon's. Love having them on board as well. But how cool is this this view here, looking over the right shoulder? You just see the undulation, the elevation change there as they come through the corkscrew. It is an exciting track to drive at, and I'm sure in these cars here that handle much better through the corners than the old F3, these guys are going to be throwing it about.
Well, just looking back off the back of this car, then it really gives a good view of the actual undulation change of the corkscrew, and it is quite a fair bit steeper than I think a lot of people realise. Especially, I don't think TV does it justice. A bit like Bathurst, you don't realise how steep it actually is until you kind of get a bird's eye view of it. Yeah.
Well, until you walk the Dipper and Forest Elbow, you don't realise how steep they actually are. You know, and you know, us V8 mad people here. We've done thousands of laps at Bathurst, and it's something you don't think about, you know, until you're there in person, really.
I've just noticed Jordan Ferguson has been struggling to get an opportunity to set a time in qualifying. He's a bit out of sync and having to pull over for other drivers. Doesn't want to get an impeding on qualifying penalty, obviously. But I guess one thing to remember, if you're on a lap and there's a fast car coming on you, you will not get an impeding penalty because you're on your lap. You can only go as fast as you can go. It's up to the other driver to try and get past you as he runs it wide and wrecks that lap, and now has to try and have another opportunity a bit later on. But
Jordan has the look of someone who's maybe jumped late into this session and hasn't done any laps in this car around Laguna Seca at the moment. So, I've been there, and sometimes a qualifying session like this is really just an extended practice. See if you can maybe sit in behind a car, follow him, work out your lines, just get yourself into a space where you can survive the race. Because it can be a bit daunting sometimes when you don't get that chance to do all the practice. I know I can see it in myself with my qualifying times. When I'm not qualifying near the front, that means that you're just not getting that extra bit of practice in, and that's where you really find those extra bits to be.
I've just realised something from what Hutto said. He said, good luck all super tight season. Should we change the name of these cars to the Super Formula Tights for how tight this season has been, Cowie?
Well, if the qualifying times are separated by thousands as they usually are, it's probably an apt description. But the Super Tights doesn't have a personal connotation for a male, so I don't know if I'd be a fan of that name.
Well, it's super close, for sure, at the moment, as Dylan Bowe still leads the way with a 13.9. He's the first driver into the 13s in qualifying. David Gallo just trying to get back up to pace with him, lets him go, doesn't want to give him any advantage, also doesn't want to impede anyone in qualifying, as last week that bit him in the bum and gave him a rear of grid penalty for impeding during qualifying.
He had an amazing race last week. The carnage and the way that the cards folded in front of him, maybe he should have put a lotto ticket on last week, because it did seem to sort of par for him. Safety cars came at the right time. He was able to take advantage of some good moves, kept the car clean, and found himself near the front and on the podium, at the end of the race. So, that goes to show that, even with a mistake in quali where you've impeded someone, it doesn't mean it's the end of your race. If you apply yourself, sometimes the cards could fall, and if you're there, you're Johnny on the spot.
Well, nice little segue into the next point of the conversation then. How will the cards fall tonight, Cowie? How many safety cars do you think we're going to get out on this beautiful Laguna Seca circuit here in California?
Well, it is in the desert, so I can see no rain clouds on the sky. Look, I think you know, this is a track where it looks like the guys are being fairly conservative, but we know there's lots that can happen here. So, of course, I can't say 2 now. I'm going to say 3.
Well, you're going to agree with Andrew Rushworth. I'm going to agree with Hutto. I'm going to say 2 here tonight. I think we're either only going to have 1, or I think we're going to have 2, because it's either going to be 1 in each race, or if it gets bad enough in the second race, both may occur. We'll have to wait and see. Hutto's saying there's something in the water impeding City.
2. Okay, he's saying 2. Look, yeah, look, I mean, look, I thought 2 was conservative, and therefore I couldn't go conservative, so I went 3. So, because again, look, we got some great action last week. It wasn't just carnage, it was great moves, it was everything mixed up, there was drama, you know, just exactly what you want as a commentator for a race. I'm not sure you want that as a driver, but I know after the race, even the drivers were saying it was just a crazy race and they enjoyed it, you know. So, more than 2. And Hamish changed his prediction. Yep, Andrew, you saw that last week too.
I don't know what you're on about, Andrew. I told you, sometimes when I say 2, it sounds like 4. Or when I say 4, it sounds like 2. Or whichever way around. I don't know what you mean about changing things. You know, I was always saying 4 last week. Bang on the banana. Might be an asterisk over the number, but that's fine.
Again, you know, it is one of those things you can have fun with it, except when the proof is thrown in your face. So we'll just leave that there. But on board with Doug Gowans, we do know he's got to keep it clean tonight. But he is in and got an outside, not so chance of the podium, but he's sitting in P3 there. I say P2 at the moment, probably P4. So a good result for tonight might put Doug up on the podium for the championship too. So you know, he's going to be on the hunt. And we know he loves riding around here.
Do you reckon Doug's a man that likes to change numbers? Because I'm sure there's one number he'd love to change coming into the next 2 weeks.
One thing I'll tell you about Doug is he's a fierce racer, and you know he fights all the way. You know, Doug will be the guy that'll put the ticket in if he doesn't agree. You know, he'll take his licks, but then he'll put the ticket in. And you know, again, he's a racer true to heart. He loves it, and you know, look, we've all got to be passionate about it, and you know, he's having a great run, and hopefully tonight, you know, he can avoid any mishaps and keep that run going.
Hopefully he can. Jamie Skeller saying, I gave Doug my number. He never called. Oh, heartbroken for you, Jamie. Absolutely heartbroken. That's all we ever expect, is just a nice call from a grandpa, and you know, Doug's just not delivering.
Look, Doug was an absolute machine in the TCR days and could drive that thing right on the edge from the word go. So, you know, the grandpa, he's had pace right from the word go, and you know, the transition over into the Formula 3s, you know, he took some time to get up to the front, but you know, being with the Velocity boys and the caliber of Dylan, you know, they've been able to sort of extract all of Doug's pace out of him. And then you look at see what's happened with Sam Katakizinas joining their team this season, and he just suddenly, you know, come on board with pace, you know, benefiting from the likes of both of them there and the practice that they put in.
I'd love to see the grandpa in the car that will be running next season from his era, the Legends 34 Coupe Sunday afternoons. I reckon he would have an absolute blast in that series when it goes ahead for season 3. And it'd be apropos. I'm sure he drove those when he was growing up. Obviously, nearly 100 years ago for him. Just aging Dougie up by a lot there.
Just a little bit, but you know, Dougie won't take that to heart. He's out here concentrating hard, and you know, we're getting a good look at that Velocity SimLab machine. Was that aqua or is that a green?
It's like an aqua color, not quite teal. You know, I think the spec map makes it look a little bit more green than what it actually is. If we go on the roll bar, it's almost like an aquary teal sort of thing. So yeah, see me drive a car for once. I'll be driving on Saturday afternoon at Watkins Glen for the 6 hour. So Dougie just puts in the
trying
wall.
To carry every bit of speed.
Yeah, that'll be the end of his qualifying, unfortunately, Kiyo, because we've only got
45 seconds. So these guys here might get a chance to finish this lap say Byrne might be the last one here coming down through the corkscrew now. He might get over the line. Who's behind him? Del Santo, he might get a chance at it as well. Maybe Schmalenberg, but I think Rosanita might be too far back. Remember when this does hit 15 minutes, well, there's one that's gone already, Del Santo.
Yeah, sorry, my microphone disconnected before. Jack was saying I'll drive your car into the barrier like Doug on Saturday. Please no. Please don't. I don't want to lose more iRating than I already have.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to get back into the officials next Monday night. We'll have to see how we go. There is the 15-minute cut-off, so as we said, you know, any of those last drivers get to put in a lap? I didn't see that. I think Daniel Byrne did. Check my message. What do you mean?
Oh, he did, and look at the time. Daniel Byrne put himself up into P3, so I think that might have been a timely final lap there.
Yeah, he finally got one in. Obviously, a couple of rear grids coming in for impeding into this first race, but we will get the starting grid up on the screen now. Dylan DeBoto, Doug Gowans will start on the front row of the grid for a Velocity SimLabs lockout. That's another one for the season for them. It's then a Carlins Motorsports second row lockout for Daniel Byrne and David Gallo, ahead of another Velocity SimLabs lockout, this time for the Pro-Ams of Matthew Gerard and Sam Katagazinos, starting P1 and P2 for their class, P5 and P6 on the road here tonight. Alan Dawson then starts in behind alongside Kai Atkins or Filchio, in front of Scott Pocock and Mitch Noble, P1 for the amateurs, making up the top 10 here tonight. Dave Roberts and Shane Ratcliffe then just missed out on the top 10 in qualifying here tonight, as we then move down to Dean Singovich, my prediction for the Amateur Championship, ahead of Ben Brook, Marcus Knitsker and Brett Del Santo, making up the first 8 rows on the road. Timothy Schmalenberg and Tyler Sheaf then start alongside each other, ahead of Nathan Verney and Matt Tessierio, making up the top 20 here tonight. Nick Schmalenberg, Josh King, Callum Rosanita and Callan Hodgkinson. Yes, Cowie, they're finally, everything's right in the world.
Back again.
Oh, we got 5 minutes, okay. They're back again beside each other on another row on the grid. It's absolutely fantastic to have them have everything right in the world. So maybe that means we're going to have less of a chaotic race. We'll have to wait and see. In behind them, we've got Danny Matisich, Kevin Wakefield just there. Sean Vinici, Martin Walker making up the top 28. Greg Johnston, Jordan Ferguson making up the rest of the grid. Greg Barber, Tyson McAvoy and Greg Leake in there for us here tonight at this stage.
Struggled to get a lap in there. We know Sean's got pace, so that's a bit surprising. They're right at the back of the grid. As you said, the Callums together, that's awesome to see. And look, you were talking about Matt Tessierio there before. You know, he has had a big lead on this AM Championship right up to, you know, the last week where it didn't go well for him and they've caught him. And Rosanita, well, how can he go? He's got to be, you know, have one eye on the championship really at this point, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, a lot of big competitors missing out here in qualifying. Obviously, Hodgkinson further back through the field, back in P24. That's not going to help him in his championship fight for this season. And then we look at the likes of, you said Rosanita. Obviously, he's leading that AM championship. The Schmalenbergs are ahead of him, who are in contention, but so is Sinkovich as well. Tessierio, he's had a couple of weird rounds so far, hasn't he?
Well, just to give you a heads up, we're just delaying the start. We're just still investigating some stuff.
Yeah, no worries, mate. All good.
Okay. There you go, Race Control. Tyson jumping in there to let us know. Thank you, sir. Well, it gives us more time to talk about this, about the championship situation. So as you said, yeah, look, it is interesting there. Look, the two Schmalenbergs are well ahead. Dean Sinkovich up in P13. That's a great qualifying result from him. Got his teammate Mitch Noble up in P10. So Mitch can take away some points there in that AM class, so that's going to change things. Matty Gerard, P5. Hodgkinson.
Yeah, Hodgkinson.
24. That could be telling. That's 19 points. It's only 2 points for the sprint, 3 for the feature tonight. But, you know, that's 14 points. That's 28 points. That's the gap already. So, you know, Callum's got his work ahead of him tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, yeah, wow, it's going to be super, super tough for a lot of this field, I think.
Come on, buddy.
Oh, what's Race Control saying?
I think they've deemed it no further. Alright, no further action with the incident. 276 and 444 have pit lane starts based on incidences. So that is
Scott Pocock and Dave
and
Roberts.
Well, Roberts is third in the championship for the pros at the moment, so that's going to be a telling moment there. Pretty much makes it a two-horse race now for the pro field.
It does. Roberts now will be aiming for that P10 on the road, surely, to get pole position in the second race. Yeah, this is going to be tough, but we are going to get the Carlins versus Velocity 2v2 they've been waiting for all season, but those two Carlins boys will be hoping for some help from Dawson and Kinzel Filchio in behind them to be able to help against the Pro-Am top two of Catakazinos and Gerard as well. So it's going to be a tough fight, but going to be one that we do not want to miss here for Laguna Seca. Obviously, sprint round action to come. Going to be big opportunities for points.
Matty Gerard, Sam Catakazinos, Dylan DeBono, Doug Grandpa Gowans. That's 4 versus 2. Because the Carlins boys sandwiched in between 2 velocities in front of them, 2 behind them. Is that ganging up or what?
What this now does is it now promotes Mitch Noble up to P9 on the road. He'll start from the P10 position, but he'll be P9. Shane Ratcliffe will then be P10. Dean Sinkovich will then be P11 on the road. So that's now going to help him out a little bit as well. What this also does, it actually closes the gap between Callan Hodgkinson and Matt Gerard, meaning that Gerard still has a little bit of work to do. I hope that Hodgkinson gets caught up in some chaos early on here. As Steph pointed out, she reckons big stack at the corkscrew with a safety car lap 1, then chaos off the restart. We'll have to wait a minute. We'll have to wait and see how that's all going to play out, obviously, in this race. Jack was saying Ferguson paying $1.13 for first crash.
Oh.
I'll take that bet.
Oh, look, Sean Benici saying he's a bit slower out there. Him and Sheepy in the chat, they're going to focus on the racing on the grid. Bubbles reckons Tim will win the end championship. Yeah, that's not a... Look, he's in the hunt there, so that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. This is the penultimate round, so this is where, you know, the dust is still in the air with those drop rounds, you know, are floating. But it's not long before, you know, that the dust will clear and we'll have a, you know, a concise look at how we go into the final round. But, you know, tonight, this is where dreams can be made or be shattered. Round 8 of a 9-round championship.
Well, we are just waiting for Sam Catakazinos. He's now on the grid. Only 2 cars not gridded up. They're the ones with rear of grid penalties, being Scott Pocock and Dave Roberts for impeding during qualifying. Well, Daniel Burns has dropped off the grid. We'll see if he joins us once again. He's back on there. Gridding is up. Lights are going to go up for race number 1 of Laguna Seca here tonight. Who's going to get the jump down towards turn number 1? Will it be DeBono or will it be Gowans? We are away here at Laguna Seca. It was a great start there from Daniel Byrne out of P3, who immediately puts the pressure on Gowans P2 on the road and looks to steal the position down into turn number 1.
Got a great run on the inside there. Nice and clean from the boys. A couple of them going 2 or 3 wide there as they come out of an Andretti corner. But so far so good. Steph's waiting for it at the corkscrew. Is there a bet on that incident happening? Or are not allowing the spot fix betting, you know, like they do, you know, betting per ball in the cricket?
But I don't know about that. Maybe we'll have a multi going on here for who's going to cause the crash, what lap it's going to happen, and how many cars are going to be involved.
We probably shouldn't be encouraging gambling. It's fine. That's the car
that's Mitch Noble. That was Mitch Noble spun round in the background as they come into the corkscrew for the very first time. Couple of drivers making their way through. Looks nice and clean at the moment as they trickle their way down. Single file, looking good so far. Well, looks like Steph's prediction was incorrect for this race, as the safety car's not been called out on lap 1 as they come round to start the next lap of this race, with Daniel Byrne now leading the way over Dylan DeBono and Doug Gowans and David Gallo at the moment.
Steph saying that's why she doesn't bet. Well, already we can see that our pro combatants, P1 and P2, sorry, it's not actually, sorry, it's Byrne leading DeBono. So at the moment, DeBono P2, Gallo, his championship rival P4. So what's that, 4 points separating them. So then when we're talking only 8 points separating them after the drop round, every point's going to count tonight, every position. Gallo's got to get past Gowans as soon as he can.
I just want to double check that, Cowie. Check your math is right on that, because I read it as... no, it's 8. It'll be 12 points after the drop round, because Gallo's going to be on 10.04. Well, Gallo's currently on 10.04. DeBono's currently on 10.12.
Yeah, so that's 8 points.
Yeah, currently 8 points, and if they finish how they are right now, then DeBono's only gaining 4 points on that. It means the gap's going to be 12 as DeBono's lost it!
Moment. Commentator's curse has come out as we're talking about him. It's your turn this time, Hamish. But that has cost DeBono 5 spots. So not out of the race yet, but that could be exactly what the doctor ordered for David Gallo.
Well, as it stands, David Gallo would be leading the championship at the moment, Cowie. I'm not claiming no commentator's curse on that one. That's just, we were chatting about him and it happened. That's just one of those things that happen during racing. But wowee. No, it's not. That's the way you're trying to sell it. That's not how it works.
Singing his praises, weren't we?
Oh, no, well, no. I was correcting on the amount
that's
of
what
points
it's all about. The commentator's curse only applies when you're singing their praises, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I wasn't necessarily praising him. I was calling out
how many maybe you got off on a technicality, mate.
Oh, Sinkovic has lost a wheel in the background.
Who's that? That's
Sheafy as well.
Thought that was Sheafy's machine there, but that he's not going to be able to get that back.
No, there's no way. There is no way they can get that back. That's going to be a safety car for sure.
He's down the bottom, still coming through.
This was Sheafy.
Yep, and this has been a request for tow.
Yeah.
This may well be safe. Oh! Trying to go around the outside there, Sheafy, and don't know if Sinker got sort of sucked into him there, or just carrying it that much speed that he couldn't hold the inside line. Well, that'll be one for race control to have a look at there, but a big moment early on in our first heat. And the safety car has been called.
So it looked like the Dean just started to hang wide a little bit, and then they kind of just interlocked at the front end. Oh, that's a tough break there. Sheafy's car, though, looks like it has not been rolled at all. Which, unlike Dean's, which looks like it has, as the safety car has now been called here on lap 4 of this race. We didn't happen quite at the
Dean actually did get back on his own steam, I think.
He's still going. He's about to get back, so he's done well.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But at the moment,
machine. It's not quite the fastest way to go around, but he made it work.
So this may well be the only safety car of race 1 at this point, because by the time we get round,
cars bring safety cars.
That's true.
It was like they were magnets. I thought a bit of that, Steph, but I mean that's a high-speed location. They're both on the gas, and it can be really easy. The problem is, you know, if Sinker gets out of the gas there, then this is a car that's all about creating more downforce when you go faster. So you get out of the gas, you think that's going to give you more grip. It actually gives you less. So, you know, it's a hard one. We'll have to see what race control's got to say.
Importantly for Sinker, he's actually made it out of the pits ahead of the field, so he's not going to go a lap down. Very luckily for him. So he'll be able to traverse around and get back onto the back of the train, and then we'll go racing once again. Unfortunately for Sheafy, I don't think he will get a wave around, as technically he's caused the safety car by needing to tow back. So that's unfortunate for him. He will be a lap down in this race, but Dean Sinkovic, luckily, he will survive this one. He will get his wave around the safety car.
Keep an eye on it here. The guys are coming around and they don't know where the safety car is. A couple little moments there of guys catching up on the field a little bit too quickly. We saw a bit of that a couple of rounds back where there was some contact under the safety car. So, you know, one of the directives that I heard last night, race control telling the drivers, keep yourself a safe distance also.
Yeah, remember last week it caught a lot of drivers out when they were all bunched up in the wet weather. They were more expecting cars to, you know, get going, and then all of a sudden they have to put on the anchors. We saw Sheafy get caught out last week. I think Tessiera got caught out. A couple other drivers as well. So
I was going to ask you, did you like my jump last night? I thought I timed it perfectly.
You did well. It was good. Right underneath the Fox sign. It was very well done.
it didn't help me in the end, but it was a great night of racing last night. Must say that, you know, the boys were fighting hard. There was a few mistakes and moments and that, but I don't really hold it against anyone because we're just racing so hard. I know Billy and I had you know, several moments there that could have gone sideways if one of us got it slightly wrong. So, you know, it was still a great night of racing, and so far intriguing here tonight. Byrne hoping to break the Carlin's Motorsport curse. He's been the one that's missed a few rounds this season, been unable to race. So, you know, maybe, you know, even though David's the one in the hunt and could be our first championship without winning a round, you know, if Daniel can take more points off De Bono, then, you know, he's in a position, if David gets past Dougie, he can hand it over on the last lap. So this is intriguing as they get away.
And I tell you what,
see the teamwork there.
Yeah, that was a great restart for Daniel Byrne. He let David Gallo know as they come down towards turn 2 that he was going right in them there. He held them for a long period of time. He done well off that restart.
Give Dougie credit too, because he read that perfectly, because he could have got eaten alive there, you know, with the two Carlin's boys trying to, you know, well, they could synchronise their restart. So, you know, he did well. And so far, it's all clean as we get going. Still got, what, about 13, 14 minutes of this race left? No, 12 minutes.
12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes just about. So still a little while to go. But it is Daniel Byrne who leads the way to Doug Gowans. And David Gallo,
you can see David Gallo. David Gallo is attacking hard. He knows how important it is to get past Dougie Gowans here, and I would not be surprised if that happens. The Byrne and Gallo swap, and Byrne becomes shotgun and the guard for, you know, try and hold off the Velocity Simulator machines behind. So this is a big part of the race here. David's going to throw everything at this pass.
Here's Dylan De Bono. He's trying to make his way back to the field. He's got Alan Dawson in his line of sight, trying to get the move done. Dawson covering the inside incredibly well for Riot Sim Racing as De Bono puts it up the inside, gets the move done, and now looks ahead to his teammate Matty Gerard, who we expect should let him straight past to help him in this championship battle. As Gerard's run it wide, so De Bono's going to get the run anyway, and Lightly's going to get this done. Yep, lets him go, and here we go. Car 8 drive-through penalty contact on lap 3. That's Tyler Sheaf, who has been deemed at fault for the incident there on lap 3.
I did see that watching back the broadcast today, Andrew. That was an epic save, buddy. Well done. We look at the battle here. De Bono now up into P4. He's on the track behind Gallo, so he's minimising that point differential. But Gallo, he's got to get past Gowans, so Gowans is going to try and hold him up as much as he can and get De Bono with it. Right, we've got a massive moment over the back there. That's
going to be a safety car, Cowie. That was huge.
Is that Ross Manita as well that got caught in that as well?
So Gerard was involved, Konitska was involved, I believe Kaya Kinzel-Filio was involved as well. Massive moment at the corkscrew. This is for sure going to be a safety car, as there is a car on its air intake.
And Tyler, yep, safety car has been called. So now 3 is sounding like it's conservative. Maybe we should have said 5. Well, it is the penultimate round. Is it excitement? Unfortunately, Tyler Sheaf got a drive-through for that incident with Dean Sinkovich. So maybe thinking that Dean had no way out there, but. Wow. Yes, you can't park there, Mr. Konitska. A massive moment. Let's have a look.
Gerard, he went for the move on Dawson, then got caught up. Caught the curb. Kinzel-Filio had nowhere to go. They're them locked wheels. What a avoidance move there from Sam Katakazinos. That's good to get an on-board with him. That was absolutely wild from the Velocity Sim Labs driver. So he's coming over the hill. He's got, I believe, Benjamin Brook coming past him. There's the smoke right in front of him. Look at this. What an... just tags Kinzel-Filio.
Yeah, I think he might have got damage out of that. But could have easily ended up right in the middle of the two of them and it'd be a 3-car pile-up. But that is another massive moment. And,
where's Konitska on this one?
We have to settle the heartbeat down again.
There's Konitska. Wow. I couldn't find him on the list, so I'm just going to find him again just quickly because I want to get his POV as well.
Well, that's just, he got that little flick of the dirt, and that's what killed him. And oh, sorry, he came right into it. Yeah. Unfortunately.
So unfortunate for him, he's been caught out in that moment. I believe he has towed back. Please tell me. Oh, what's happened? Everything's gone.
Maybe change to another driver. So.
I am attempting to. It's not letting me at the moment.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well, give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try and fix this up just very, very quickly.
It's like, what does it say? Camera unknown.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave and rejoin the session.
Oh.
So I'll quickly get that sorted. Very, very sorry about this. I don't know why that's done that for. Oh, no, we're back. We're good.
Oh.
It's because it was waiting for Knitska to tow back. That's fine. We fixed it.
And you couldn't change off that car.
No, it wouldn't let me.
Oh, little heartbeat moment there for the broadcast team.
Oh,
you know,
you got no idea.
Our own little safety car
I did not want to have to reload right then and there. Oh, we're all good though. We're good to go.
That's sort of one of those moments where you've sent it in and you just at the last moment you've realised that you're just a little bit too hot. You don't really want to go inside there because you're going to turn him, and somehow you pull the car up.
I like Jack. Why go
and
around when you can just go over?
I almost took out Troy 2 or 3 rounds ago where I don't know how I pulled the car up behind him because he just broke a bit earlier than I thought, and I thought I was going to hit him, and I somehow saved it. So that's one of those moments. Well done. Even if it was just, no, let it think. Yep, okay, it does. You know, sometimes they say you need to use the hammer. Sometimes you just need to leave things alone and let it think.
Well, I think now we can confidently say that should be last safety car of race 1 because we're pretty close to 5 minutes to go. But that was a big moment in the corkscrew. It did finally come. Right. Look at the jump. What a team play there from Daniel Byrne and David Gallo. Wowee.
Whoa. I think he held it slow. Actually past the line. A race control is going to have a look at that restart and see if they did it and how. But it looked like to me that he just kept it slow past the line. And Dougie stayed slow and they'd crossed the line and then Gallo made his move. That's going to be an interesting one to look back at. Like. Yeah, it could be an absolute masterstroke by the Carlins boys to instigate that. Oh, well, look, we'll finish watching this lap and let things settle. We might try and have a look at that because that's going to be one where race controllers are going to be scrutinising it quite heavily themselves.
Oh, they will. They'll be checking out David's throttle input. Obviously, as soon as he gets on throttle, if he's at the line, you know, they'll be triple checking everything to make sure that was a legal restart for Byrne and Gallo. I mean, if it's legal, absolutely spectacular team play there to get Gallo past Doug Gowans, make the move a bit easier for him. And I would suspect that Byrne will likely let him pass at some point. Car 78 drive-through penalty passing prior to the control line. So they have already made the decision on it.
Wow. So maybe they got it completely wrong. That's what race control is saying. So
that's the control line. The control line is back there. Or is the control line the start-finish line?
That's right. Oh, that'll be an interesting one because there's 2 lines there, so maybe...
You'll notice, right, there's the control line and there's the start-finish line. So which one is it? Is it the line at the end of the grid or is it the finish line that is technically the control line? No, that's unless they mean no passing until the start-finish line, then fair enough.
Control line is the checkered line, Jacko's saying. So if that's the case, then Gallo did go a bit quick. That is a massive moment because this pretty much secures De Bono's points advantage. We know that it's not a huge point drop, given that this is a heat, but
Phil Vell saying it's the wait till lap 1 of safety car is done risk management approach. Andrew Rushworth was saying start finish. I thought, yeah, this is interesting.
sounded like race controller saying they've reviewed it all, and according to the rules, that the penalty stands.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
There's a lot of love in the chat for Brett Del Santo, I've just noticed tonight, as Danny Matisic has ended up off the road and down the order now as well, but car is still rolling for him. But man, oh man, this now brings into question, how can David Gallo come back from this? Because he's going to be at the very end of the field when he drives through the pit lane. Does this take away his hopes of this championship? Does it give it now to Dylan DeBono?
Well, it is the difference at the moment between getting, 50 odd points to getting 17 points. So you're talking 30, 40 points difference here at this so they just got it. Maybe they thought it was that first line as themselves, because that is the start-finish line. Sorry, it's not the start-finish line, but it is the line where you start on the grid.
Yeah, it's the start line, but the finish line is further up the road.
Wow, so that is... Because they timed it perfectly, but then again, Dougie Gowans, he didn't go, so... maybe he thought it was the control line further up as well, so... It's going to be an interesting one. It's happened. Race Control have confirmed it, so that has maybe put a big, onus on this championship now. Dylan DeBono, well, he needs to maybe just hold on to these points because they are precious now in this race.
I suppose what you say then is well, was that move worth it for David Gallo? He gave up. He went for a controversial move to gain 2 points when he could have held position, guaranteed the 2 points, and that's all good, Greg. All good, mate. No worries. Totally understand. I know race control is a big job, obviously, and completely understand you guys might need a little bit of extra time sometimes to check stuff out, so all good.
Yeah, look. Yeah, I mean, I think that,
Sorry, I just saw Shane Ratcliffe spun round at the final corner. I was checking if that was someone else, but yeah, Ratcliffe spun round. He now drops outside the 10.
Well, the sausage curbs around here can be a bit nasty if you catch them. We know the open wheelers do not like them at all, but the control line is where your lap time starts and stops.
Yeah, no, that's
Greg's
fair.
saying, so yep. No, that's fair enough. So it's the Carlins boys that, thought that they had timed it perfectly, and to be honest, I thought they nailed it as well. So
yeah, exactly.
They're the ones that didn't maybe make sure of that in the rules, and unfortunately, timed it perfectly wrong, I suppose.
Just going to appease the chat here who are calling out for Brett Del Santo from Cobalt Racing. So there you go. There's some Brett Del Santo action on screen for you. He's currently trying to defend off against Sam Catacasinos.
He's P5 at the moment.
Up 11 spots.
Yeah, he's having a crack of a race. That's why they're calling it out. They can see it. You can see that Matt Tessiero and Nathan Burney behind, a couple of spots behind him, are up 12 as well.
Well, Ferguson's
so
also
always,
up 12 too, so there's some big gainers in this one.
Oh, there's always beneficiaries when you have carnage and safety cars. And you can see that neon machine of Nathan Burney right in the hunt here as well. Catacasinos trying to get as many points as he can, because look, we've seen what happened to Gallo. The same thing can happen to any of our contenders. So you've just got to maximise your points at the pointing end and see where you're at.
We're on the final lap now. White flag lap of race number 1. It's currently Daniel Byrne who leads the way to Doug Gowans and Dylan DeBono here. Alan Dawson, Brett Del Santo up into the top 5. Catacasinos has stayed where he started in P6. He's got Verney, one of the 2 hard chargers of this race, up 12 positions in P7 behind. Pocock, who's up 1 in P8. Tessera's now dropped a spot back to P9. He's up 11 though. Schmalenberg up 7 positions in this race into P10. That's Timothy, not Nick, as Dawson's had a moment and lost it outside the top 5. That now promotes Brett Del Santo up into P4. Catacasinos into the top 5. As Daniel Byrne's going to come around the final couple of corners, try and hold it together as best he can. He's done all he can do here tonight for the first race to try and take points off of Dylan DeBono for his teammate David Gallo.
He's done it. We thought he would. And I don't know if it's as necessary with what happened to Gallo there, but you've got to make sure of all of those points. And we've seen championships come down to a couple of points, so again, not allowed to do that in Formula 1 anymore, but in Formula 3,
Oh,
the
Matt
big moment
Gerard.
there.
That's Matty Gerard. That's going to hurt him in his championship hopes because Callan Hodgkinson is up 11 spots and is finished in P13 in this race.
Ross Benita in P12 as well, up 11, so they're another one of those championship runners making sure of his points. I mean, Hodgkinson, he's minimised the damage, nice. Matt Tessuero up in P8 as well, so that is a great performance by AM, and of course Sam Catacasinos, a pro-AM that we know he's been showing signs of being right on the edge of a promotion.
Also,
but,
the Carlins curse is over just quickly, Cowie. Carlins have finally won a race this season.
And it was Daniel Byrne that has got it done, so yeah, wow. Oh, that race had everything. I mean, just as exciting as last week, buddy. It's a great race. And you're up to Santo, yeah, had a great race, P4. That will put him, P7 for our reverse top 10. So that's going to be, it's going to be exciting because we can see, David Gallo, he's got a lot of points to try and make up in this second race because he's just dropped 20 or 30 to Dylan.
You can see the gap
can't get back up there.
He's finished P16, Dylan's finished P2. So that's 14 spots between them. Do the math, he's dropped...
That's 28 points.
Yeah, 28 points. So that's a big drop. He's now 36 points behind Dylan. Pretty much what he needs to do now is he needs to hope that Dylan ends up towards the back in this race. He needs to get to the top and then hope that next week he can beat Dylan in the final race of the season at Barcelona. Provisional results on your screen now, though, for race number 1 here tonight. Although quickly race control, car 3, pit lane start for race 2, incident responsibility on lap 12. So that has been given to... who's car 3?
That is Danny Matisic.
Danny Matisic. Okay, so Matisic will be starting from the lane, but how they finished out for race 1, it was Byrne to De Bono to Gowans. Del Santo Catacasinos make up the top 5. Vernie, Pocock, Tessuario, Roberts, Schmalenberg make up the 10. Ratcliffe, Rosanita, Hodgkinson, Schmalenberg, Ferguson make up the top 15. Ferguson ending up, I believe, 15 places up from where he started this race, so a great run from him. Gallo, Kinzel, Filio, King, and Wakefield make up the top 19 cars on the road here tonight. We then have Johnston, Benici, Walker, Brook, Dawson, Noble, Singovich, Matisic, Gerard, Kanitska 2 laps down, Sheaf 3 laps down at the back end of the field.
Can you leave that up? Just scroll up a little bit for that mid-pack. There we go. So look, a couple of interesting things here. So Callan Hodgkinson, he has finished... what's that?
Back to where
10
Matty Gerard
spots.
is.
Yeah, Matty Gerard. So 15 spots ahead of Matty Gerard. So that's going to make it hard for Matty Gerard to continue that fight into next week. That drive there by Hodgkinson may well be the sealer for his championship.
Well, we know that Gerard may not be able to make next week's race either. So Hodgkinson may have just wrapped it up for himself in that one off the back of that. So...
Yep.
What a night we've had so far, Cowie. It's been intense
has
for
been
sure.
Thrown about. I mean, look, it's still got to be close between Rosanita, Schmalenberg, Tessiero. Johnson finished in 22nd, I think, there, so he took a few points there. But Rosanita had a great run, and I think Tessiero was up there too. So those two continuing that fight, though. A lot of points in Rosanita's favour, so he's doing everything he can to keep his fingers around that AM trophy as well.
I've heard whispers that Brett Del Santo is racing on a controller.
I don't think so. That is not in iRacing. We've seen Sheepy's attempts at driving with a controller, and but the nuances just wouldn't allow it. Again, I think you'd have to have the best software in the world to be able to achieve that on a controller.
I suppose you would, yeah. Well, I need to go get a drink, Cowie, so do you mind me leaving you for a moment, or for about 30 odd seconds with the chat while I go grab a drink?
Oh, I don't know if anyone wants to talk with me out there. I mean, I have been known to be able to carry on, so you're right for the moment. I'm just interested in how these championship battles are fighting out. It looks like, you know, maybe the results of the heat race here, number 1, has really opened up that Pro and Pro-Am classification. What do you guys think out there? Do we need a wet race next week to spice it right up? And hi, Steph and Jace there in the chat still with me. That's good to see. We've still got, well, we've got a couple of minutes, about 30 seconds before we start gridding up for the feature race here. But look, it's interesting. I don't know if things are going the way we wanted it to go, Hamish. So, you know, both of our Pro and Pro-Am contenders not having the race that they wanted there for race number 1. No,
well, Cowie, I've just hijacked your room for a minute. Only because I can. Because I did hear that the young fellow was going for a bit of a drink.
We got Sinker in here. Great to have you in here, Sinker.
Yeah, but you both just discounted a legendary effort by Daniel Fritz racing with a controller last season.
Did he? I didn't say anything.
I didn't controller race.
I didn't say anything about. I didn't say anything bad about it.
Top 5, I think it was. Yeah, I have to go back in the records and check it. I'm not sure if you guys hear me well, but yeah, he had a absolute pearler last season near the end of the year because he was not end of the year. I should correct myself. I think it was not last season. The season before, he was away in Melbourne and it was up for points, and it was actually Grand Prix weekend. And yeah, he raced from Melbourne from the hotel room in his laptop.
Well, that's on his laptop, but he could have a wheel plugged in. You're talking about
controller. No, he had the controller. Yeah. Did an awesome effort. We'll have to find out from Fritzy what race it was. But anyway, I thought I'd just hijack the break while you guys were there. Doing a great job, mate.
How's your thoughts about Daniel Byrne taking over with the most race starts in F3? You've had this season off. You've had to relinquish your crown, buddy.
Absolutely gutted. I thought that was one thing that I'd done. It's going to be a hard way to come back because the popularity of F3 is huge. I think we're just waiting for brothers to join the series, and we will pretty much have the fastest grid in the country. So if the Webb brothers are out there, I know they're on the edge of joining. Once they've joined, we will have an absolute epic grid. And one little tidbit for you, where maybe a race of champions at the end of season 3 from we've started a conversation about maybe having some inter-league race at the end of season 3.
Don't get me excited, Sinker.
It is started. The conversations have started, and it's just a matter of having some vocal conversations as emails have gone through. But yeah, just to put it out there, this could be something very epic for end of season 3. It's going to be a race at the end of the season, and it could be an annual thing. It could be after every season. We don't know. We'll see how it goes, but it's going to be huge.
Awesome news, Sinky. You better let us get to the grid because it looks like we've only got about 45 seconds before race number 2, our feature race here tonight, will start. There is the grid for tonight. It will be Timothy Schmalenberg and Dave Roberts sharing the front row. Matt Tessuera and Scott Pocock, again, great race from both of those guys, getting inside that top 10, taking advantage of that reverse. Nathan Burney and Sam Catagazinas share row 3, Brett Del Santo and Doug Gowans row 4, Dylan DeBono, Daniel Byrne row 5. The big point here is David Gallo. He is well back in position 16, so did do a quick recovery at the end of that race. Could have been even further back, so maybe he's already done a bit of minimising of the damage. Hamish?
Yeah, I think he's going to need to have an absolutely mega start here as lights are up. Let's go racing for our second running of Laguna Seca here tonight. 40 minutes to come. Schmalenberg on pole. It was a horrible start from Pocock in the background, who drops positions early on here as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time in this race and look to try and keep it as clean as possible through the first corner here.
Roberts with the attack early there on Schmalenberg. Tessuero, he's slotted in nicely, but he's got Sam Catacasinas going up the inside now. Look, they're already 2-3 wide at the back there. Looks like the pros at the back of this top 10 trying to make early moves. And great running there as, who's that looking for a move up the inside? Is that Del Santo? Looks like it might have been Doug Gowans that got through there and into Bono as well. So already some early movement.
Yeah, we've already got DeBono up a couple of spots. He's up to P7 already. Gallows now just gaining position over Nick Schmalenberg a bit further back. That was Ratcliffe off wide, as well as Kaya Kinzel-Filio, who's now ended up on the wall, as well as Josh King back further.
Oh.
Actually, no, there goes Ratcliffe there at the corkscrew.
And this could be crazy. That could have been a big mo. We got more contact at the corkscrew there. Look at that. And there's cars on their roof.
Oh my God.
Number 3 will be on its way. We've got a fair bit to unpack. Charles Filo with a broken car there. Oh, wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
Oh, Steph, you just got the race wrong. You said it was going to be lap 1 at the corkscrew. You just got the race wrong, Steph. So maybe those lotto numbers are going to be good for this week that were bad last week, Steph.
Maybe, as we are now on lap 2, but safety car city has already begun. We're going to quickly run through everything that occurred on lap number 1 of this race. It's all going to start with Kaya Kinzel-Filio down at the fast left-hander before the corkscrew. So he came up the hill. He had Josh King around him here. So he came up, what's happened? Oh, he's just come in way too hot, gone into the back of King, and he's then ended up in the wall. Wakefield Singovich also ended up off the track as well. This is from the same incident, a little bit further on. So that's just how that occurred for them. And then Shane Ratcliffe, I mean, he's done well to hold his brakes, but he's held his brakes right in the middle of the track and right on the racing line. So he's not let any other cars anywhere else to go. That's then caused a massive pile up in the background. Ferguson was caught out in this one as well.
So much to unpack.
I know. I'm trying to figure out who's been rolled over, who's been caught out. There's Ferguson, who then got, stopped up. Heap of cars having to go around. Oh, and then that's Ben Brook, who's been collected. Oh, yeah, and it was, I believe, it was Martin Walker who ended up on his roof off the exit, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I'm not. So it was Martin Walker who ended up rolling his car over. Big moment down at the corkscrew. He was, you know what? He is lucky he can get out of that thing. He's got room to get out of the car.
It's crazy. Steph got it exactly right. Just the wrong race, but yeah, look.
Jace, this is the SF24. The SF23 is the regular Super Formula. These are the Super Formula lights.
And you're asking what happened to me before there last night, Jace. There was a little bit of netco between me and Billy in the last race. Unfortunate, but I think I was watching back on the replay and I maybe closed down a little bit too, so it's definitely not Billy's fault. I was having a great race with him.
So yeah, so just to confirm, these are the Super Formula lights, not the SF23 Honda or Toyota. There's only one build of these cars. The SF23 is the one with the multiple manufacturers available for them. But as we currently stand with this safety car, I expect it to come into the pit lane probably next lap, Cowie, I would say. Maybe this lap.
No, it depends on how much he needs to calm these boys down, because they've been on it right from the word go. Roberts and Schmalenberg at the front, they were attacking hard. Catacasinas up 3 spots, so he's taken advantage of the chaos there at the start. Del Santo up 1, DeBono up 2. Who else? David Gallo up another 4, so up in P12. He's a beneficiary here of the safety car. Just bunches everything back up again. He doesn't lose as much time. Alan Dawson, Benjamin Brook, and Mitch Noble all up 8. So those guys were near the back of the grid, and they've now got themselves into that 15th, 16th, 17th. And Tyler Sheaf, after his big moment in race number 1 and the drive-through, has recovered from the rear of the grid, up in P20, up 10 spots.
Well, importantly for David Gallo, he is now only 5 positions away from the back of Dylan De Bono's car. He's got Rossinier, he's got his teammate Daniel Byrne, he's got De Bono's teammate Doug Gowans, and then Nathan Verney separating him and championship leader Dylan De Bono in this race. If he can keep it clean over the next 35 minutes or so, as we are 5 minutes into this race of 40, then he could still end up around him and maybe not lose so many points going into next week's race out at Barcelona, where it will be one race to rule them all, one race worth for points.
Oh, I like that reference, one race to rule them all.
Thank you.
Greggy jumped in the lounge earlier to thank me for my table. I finished my big gaming table, and that's the slogan I'm going with, it. One table to rule them all. It'll be
very good.
In the Blacks Beach around the table.
Can you get a little branding of Frodo or Schmeagol to get burnt into the side of the table?
No, if I was going to do anything like that, it would be the Dungeon Master from the old cartoon in the 80s.
Ah, yes.
Alright, so he'd be the one that I would get put into the table for sure. Alright,
we will see if any drivers can survive the trip to Mordor here tonight, or if they will get ended up thrown into the Eye of Sauron here out at Laguna Seca. I mean, it's a hot place out at Laguna in the deserts of California, so they might feel like they're already burning up, but they just have to try and keep cool, calm, and collected.
We haven't really talked about it either, but look at the track temp at the moment. It's 45 degrees, so these guys, that's why we're seeing the cars sliding around. I know that they talked about it was a hot track last week, and it's another hot one this week, not unexpected being where we are, but, it does mean that you use up your rubber, you slide around a bit more. When you overheat the tyres, you've then got to give them a nice, bit of a relax for the next 3 or 4 corners to let the temperature come back down. Because otherwise, then that's when those risks compound, and you over push, you slide, and then you try to push in the next corner. That's when it's going to all give way and go on you, and your race goes really sour. So it's very much a different thing to look after the tyres when the temperatures are this hot. And we'll see how these boys go as they get ready to start this race back up again.
Well, Schmalenberg looks to hold the whole field up towards the start-finish line of this track. No, he's gone at what we thought might be the control line, but in fact it was not. It's only the start line just there, but he's gone that little bit earlier. But he's done well off the start here. Big movement in the background here from the likes of Del Santo, as well as Gowans and Verney as well. Verney's already dropped a couple of spots now. De Bono's up into P6. Gallo's got to get a move on if he wants to get onto the back of him. But Schmalenberg just trying to survive at the front of the field right now with Roberts and Katakazinas in behind him.
Well, I think at the moment, David Gallo needs to try and follow Doug the Grandpa Gowan through, and again, the door almost stayed open for Gallo, but Verney was aware of it and closed it. He's got Byrne in behind him. Sorry, it must have been Byrne making the attack. I thought it was Gallo, to apologise. But at the moment, good run here from Timothy Schmalenberg up the front, and he, with a big chunk of points here, he could be able to, put some pressure on Rossinier as we go into that final round. And there we have another moment of the corkscrew sheepy getting it all out of thoughts. Another car went wide there. I don't know if it was still a void sheepy or not, but we've avoided another safety car, so my 3 prediction is still alive.
He is still on the bubble, though. Marcus Ganitska's been given a drive-through penalty for the contact on lap 1, so he has been deemed at fault and will now have to traverse through the lane.
Velo as well has been given one as well for contact with car 91 on lap 1. Look at space there in the broadcast. It's been pretty exciting.
He gave an opportunity to have a breath for a moment there, but Schmalenberg leads the way at the moment. Info's up on your screen now, so we can keep an eye on how close these battles are on track. Rossinier and Gallo, they got a nice close one occurring at the moment. Then obviously De Bono, who's up to P5 already, has Del Santo, Pocock and Gowans in behind him as well.
A lot more closer at the moment. We've basically got the first field speeding up, but that is Gowans and Daniel Byrne on his roof. And it looks like my safety car prediction has gone as well. And we'll have to have a look right back in the chat to see if Stephanie's predicted 4 for this race. Well, she's already halfway there, but I'm going to have a look back up in the chat and see who everyone else said was going to go for safety cars. step?
Oh, I think unfortunately, Cowie, because there's one thing we have to talk about. We mentioned earlier in the broadcast, and that was how Dougie Gowans is on the bubble like Jamie Davis was yesterday for licence points. In my opinion, and it's always race control that makes the decision, in my opinion, that looks like that's Dougie's fault because of his rejoin. That may look poorly on him and get him that one licence point that then puts him over the threshold and gets him a round ban next week, importantly, for the final round of the season, which would also take him out of tomorrow's GR86 race. I'm not saying that it is his fault. That's just what it looks like on face value. RC will look into it, in depth and get every single angle that they can. But that's just what it looks like on the face value of it. But I'm not claiming that that's what it is. One thing to keep in mind.
Have they called the safety car?
I would assume they're going to, because Daniel Byrne's currently sitting on his air intake.
Have they got permission to tow then or not? They've kept it going? I didn't see. Didn't hear what race control had to say. Grandpa is in the pits. Daniel Burns is in the pits as well.
Yeah, safety car's been called. It's out on track.
Yeah, okay, there it is there. So, just waiting to catch up with the leaders. Well, I went and had a look back through the chat, and no one got it right tonight. So, the safety car has defeated all of us tonight.
That's fine.
Including these drivers.
That's fine. Well, you know what? Laguna's a bit like... it's a bit like Silverstone, Cowie, where it's a 50-50. You're either going to get none or you're going to get a lot. You never really get one or two. I feel like both those circuits, you either get a heap of incidents that cause safety cars or you get absolutely none.
Well, look, we've seen the Courts crew be the culprit, 3 times now. It's just one of those tracks. I mean, it's like Bathurst, you can have that moment coming down through the S's, and when that happens, it's so hard to avoid, even when the car's off in the extra runoff area against the wall. And then you add it in the tight dipper. Well, same thing here at the corkscrew, that happens in front of you. The moment you get on the brakes in these things, that's when you lock it up. You've got no control over the car. You're just a passenger. And we've seen a bunch of cars cop it. We've got 5 or 6 coming out of the pits now. So I don't know how many fast repairs these boys had tonight, but looks like more than a few of them using it up, and may well have to drive with a bit of damage here.
I think it's normally 1 per race, isn't it?
Could be, so they would have 2, so so maybe a few of these guys have been able to avoid it. The grandpa is still in the pit, Doug Gowan.
I don't know if he needed a tow or not. So Byrne is coming out of the lane. Gowans is still in. Oh,
I'm a little shocked. This night has gone a bit crazy.
Well, what's the last 4 rounds we've had, Cowie? So obviously this week at Laguna, last week rain-ridden Montreal. The week before was
Long Beach.
No, it was Motegi. The week before that was Long Beach.
Long Beach.
All 4 rounds have been absolutely chaotic and really changing up the landscape of this championship. I mean, Barcelona next week, you might look at it face value and think, it's just going to be a cookie-cutter race. But on the trajectory we're on, that should be an absolute barn burner.
Well, look, I think one thing we're seeing is that the guys are starting to become confident with the car. They're starting to push it. I mean, one of the things I said at the start, I just hoped that this car wasn't too tame, because one of the things the F3 had going for it was a car that you could get onto the edge and really, if you drove it well and sent it perfectly, it really responded. And these things, although they lack maybe that top-end pace, we're now seeing these drivers from a car that was supposed to be comfortable to drive, well, they're finding the limits, they're pushing hard, and we're seeing it out on track week after week. We love it.
Yeah, I think this season has proved that the changeover has actually been beneficial, because it is allowing more and more drivers to get more and more confident in the car, maybe a little bit overconfident from time to time, but they're willing to push the car to its absolute limits. They're willing to push it to its grip limits. They're willing to push it to its braking and throttle limits. And it's making for some absolutely epic racing. It is also leading to some chaos, but I think it has all come together in a perfect little mix to create a nice little tasty cocktail that is the Shannon's Formula 3 Nationals. And I've been enjoying sipping on it all season, Cow. It's been absolutely phenomenal.
I'm loving it at the moment. Look, I try to minimise my broadcast to one night a week because I like racing, but, every time I think about, I'd like to give these F3s a go myself, I'm just enjoying watching these guys battling out and talking about it week after week. It's great to see the rapport in the chat from you guys and chatting with us. We love it. It gives us things to talk about. Not that the racing's boring or anything, but just having you guys, sharing the journey as we all watch this great race. It makes it feel like it's almost real.
Have we had a boring race all season, Kelly?
No.
I don't think we have. I think all season we've had some absolute great. There's been some that have been a little bit less exciting than others, for sure.
Yeah, well, I was going to say we've had a couple opportunities to go out on a few tangents with some of our discussions, and that maybe shows you that there wasn't something happening on track right at that moment. But it's the lull before the storm. We've seen these great pieces that are really deciding the championship. I think he's going to go straight away here, Schmalenberg.
Quite possibly. May not want to hold him just as long because it might give him any indication. No, he's still going to hold it just as long as he did last time. Oh no, he's gone just a bit earlier. You know what? That's a good restart there from Schmalenberg. He's done well. Caught Roberts out a little bit, made him expect him to go all the way to the start line instead of the start-finish line, and just caught him out a little bit through turn one.
That's two good restarts. We saw that, from the actual race start, Roberts was prepared to have a go there, and unfortunately Benjamin Brook with a wide run down there through Andretti, and that's going to, put him well off the line. But Schmalenberg leads Roberts to Bono now up into P3, so an early, mover there on that restart as well. Race control. Radio. Is that did De Bono jump at the? No, car number 80. Someone's had a moment.
Yeah, that was. I think that might have been Ben Brook asking to get towed off the exit of turn 2.
Right, so he damaged the car completely there. We might try and have a look after this lap to see what happened to him. Big. It's a good battle here in the AM classification there. They go too wide down the corner. That's a slide up the top. Who was that?
Dean Singovich and I believe Alan Dawson.
So, Dean doesn't need those moments. He's one of those guys in the hunt for the AM Championship. So, it's still, every time we make a prediction or we start to talk about the championship, someone decides to throw the deck on the floor and we've got to play pick up 52.
See this Schmalenberg under all sorts of pressure from Roberts and De Bono. He's been saved by the safety cars the last couple of laps, but it appears right now that he has been eaten alive. De Bono, Roberts get past. Katakazinos now looks to get him in his line of sight across this lap as well.
Bono be happy there. I thought for a moment there he was risking the biscuit being that close.
He's done well to get the job done there, but Roberts now looks on to try and take another win this season for Pace Syndicate. They've had quite a few.
Are they going slow? Have we got another safety car?
No, we do. Safety
these
car's
guys go
pits,
slow.
I think. Oh, so, yeah, it is. That's who's that? Was that Ben? That wasn't Ben Brook parked up, was it? No, it's Benici. It's Sean Benici. So we haven't seen him a lot this season.
That's safety car number 5. So, wow. It's been a spicy night. We're not even halfway through this race.
This was Benici's moment. He had, I believe, Dawson in behind. Yeah, this is what probably led to Dawson and Singovich, and then he did well to avoid those other cars. Really made himself the only one.
He tried there, and he.
Wow. Hey, currently Steph's on the bubble because she called 4th for this race. As majority of the field now coming, including Roberts.
Already, yeah.
Roberts, Schmalenberg, Tessierero, Vernie, Gallo, Del Santo, and Kanitska all into the lane now.
Yeah, we're far enough into this race that they can pit and get home now, I would think. So you're going to see pretty much the entire field come in and try and take advantage. Don't make this a sprint race in the end. Don't do what I did on Sunday and stay out and find yourself at the front trying to fuel save with a bunch of angry pros behind you.
Do we think they can get home on a no-stop, Cowie? We've had that many safety cars?
Look, it was about 10 to 13 laps that they would need to find, so I don't know. I don't think so. De Bono's staying out.
I'll quickly do the
No,
math.
it's a possible. Yeah, I suppose it may be right. Well, I mean, look, 3 safety cars. That's taken probably at least 10 minutes out of this motor race. So yeah, maybe. R07 getting his lap back. Who is that? That's the grandpa Doug Gowan, so he'll be happy about that, though, as we said, may well have a penalty over his head. Race control still hasn't had a chance to, look at those, because we've gone from one safety car to another. As they say, they do breed them every now and again.
So just to confirm, we've lost 4 laps so far, Cowie. If we'd had no safety cars by this point, they were averaging a minute 14 per lap. We'd be on lap 16 at this point.
Alright, so 4 laps. We're saying here it would likely, if it stayed green, it would go 33. So we're now looking at, maybe 28 to 29 laps. So say maybe it's going to be down 4 or 5 laps already. That pit window is probably about 22, 23 laps. So, it's close, because if we're down 4, you add 22, 23 laps, and you add 4 to that, that's 20, 27, 28. That's about where it's going to go at the moment. So it could be a, I don't know if it's a risk for De Bono, but I'm getting the feeling he thinks he can get home here, so...
Well, the problem is, he needs to get onto the back of the safety car. He is holding this field back too far, and he risks getting a penalty for not catching the back of the safety car at the moment. So obviously he's trying to save, but he needs to get on the back of the safety car and then save. He can't be building such a gap ahead of him, because it ends up slowing the whole field down and then impedes other drivers trying to make it back.
An interesting call from Toyota, because I think maybe these fuel numbers are right on the bubble, and he definitely doesn't want a rear grid for next week.
No, definitely not.
So, is he trying to throw a bit of spice back into this championship? Like his Origin call, watch the state Origin, he missed the racing, that gave Gallo and Co a chance to catch up, and now, it's gone sour for David Gallo again tonight. But is Dylan maybe risking the biscuit here? What do you think out there? Anticlimactic, Sean. Unfortunately, your car broken again and you can't get going, buddy.
Unfortunate for Sean, so early in the morning for him, having to race in this series. He unfortunately means that he goes to bed and, well, didn't really get anything out of it, which is unfortunate for him. I think it'd be cool if we could. It would be cool if we could investigate maybe doing a US series at some point, or an international series during the day for us here in Australia at night time for internationals, so at least then they can come and race us at a more reasonable time.
I know, Thinker has talked about stuff like that in the past, so, it may be one of those things, but I know that you used to do Saturday morning for the V8s, used to be the Sim Speed broadcast officials, and we used to see good bunch of Aussies, jump up for a 10, 11 o'clock in the morning race on a Saturday. So, but, I know you're talking about more getting sort of our overseas friends involved in the racing.
Yeah, so whether it's like a Wednesday morning, for example, for F3s for the internationals, or even a Saturday morning for us, a Friday night for them to be able to race something, might open up a couple more opportunities for some different drivers, as I believe the safety car is in. I forgot the safety car graphic that time by, but De Bono has gone
straight away.
He has.
Yep,
he's gone straight away.
So not stopping around there. So maybe his fuel numbers are all good now, because he might have eked out a little bit more. Sean there saying, yeah, it's unlucky. He races at night normally. He's good with the late races. Doesn't need to convince my son not to wake me up at 6 a.m. Good luck with that if he's a toddler.
I used to get up at 5 a.m. when I was a toddler. It's crazy the sleep schedule you can get. But De Bono,
Doug Gowans has been given a drive-through penalty for that incident there, so that may well have sealed the grandpa's fate for next week.
Well, it also seals his fate for tomorrow, Cowie, because if he has gotten a licence point, he can't race in the 8.6s tomorrow. So that now gives him and he can't drop a penalty round. So that pretty much takes him out of contention for that series. So it not only has implications for the F3s, but for other series that drivers race in as well across the week. So that's the thing for drivers to keep in mind if they're accruing points across the season or across the first 2 seasons. Just to be wary of that a little bit.
Sean, if your kids are only 1 and 2, I'm sure the missus is not going to give you any sympathy either, buddy. So, looks like you're confident from all sides, but it is Dylan DeBono leading away. 8 positions he's up at the moment, but stayed out pretty much. No, did he pit at all? No. So it's our top 4 or 5 of the cars that have avoided going into the pits. Our top 5 cars at the moment. So that's DeBono, Catacasinas, Pocock, Hodgkinson and Noble all electing to stay out. Could be a masterstroke, especially from Callum and Mitch Noble. That's a good chunk of points for those boys.
Well, David Gallo is currently the highest seeded driver who has taken a pit stop. He pitted on lap 12. He currently sits P6 on the road. So if that top 5 need a pit stop, he is provisional P1 on the road, but that is only depending if they do need one.
Well, interesting here, so he's already right on the back of Sean Noble. This is Pro versus Am, so maybe a little bit of a mismatch here, but he's still got to get it done clean. And he's got Hodgkinson up in front of him, who's shown good pace as well tonight. So, it's a good recovery drive at the moment by Gallo, but those boys, they'll be ruining that decision to jump a little bit early.
Well, he would be taking away the possibility of my prediction if he wins this race, because then if he won the championship, he would have done it by winning a race this season, where my prediction stands that he will win it without winning a race. So,
well, I mean, he dropped a whole heap of points in that race number 1, so he really needs the Bono to have a moment here, but he's doing everything he can, sitting out front, and he's got a commanding lead, and I'm sure Sam wouldn't even want to put any pressure on Dylan. Oh no, Dean Singovich has been given a penalty as well. Incident responsibility lap 10, so that's going to hurt the Sinker's chance for the championship as well. And he's got contact
another one with Kanitska.
Oh.
Wow, Pocock's also off. Gerard's battling it out with Rosanita.
At the moment, Pocock was up inside the top 4 or 5, so something's happened there as well, whether it's self-inflicted or not, but that's unfortunate because that's cost him a bunch of positions.
Yeah, we'll double check it, what's happened to him. So he's had this off track at the same time as Kanitska. So in the background, further back before that corner is where Kanitska went off. Oh, he was a self-lose.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of a tank slapper there. He's done well to recover. A little tap on the wall. He might have got away with that. But yeah, you can see they cost a bunch of positions. So unfortunately, ending his run up at the front. But now, Mitch Noble, P3 on the road.
Yeah, he's done well here tonight. Really cleaned up his act this season as Mitch Noble. Now, he's still, he has accrued some license points this season, more last season, but he's really cleaned up his act. He's done so well this season to really clean it up, get some positive positions out of that car. A couple of moments, getting it off track, whatever it was. He's done well. He's done well this season as well. Hutto in the chat saying fuel's going to be tight, so we'll have to wait and see. Jace Douglas saying what's a good time in these cars. Fastest time around this track tonight was a 13, Jace. Average was about a 1:14. So if you want to be...
At the moment in this race, it's really only the front couple of cars in the 14s, so 15s and 16s across the field. Again, some of the back guys in the 19s and 20s, so just shows you when you're deep in the field, you might only be a second or so slower than the front guys, and Nathan Burney missing the front wing there, so it's underneath the car. Moment there as well. Who's that? Dawson again.
That's Jordan Ferguson.
No, Ferguson. That's Ferguson. And he definitely didn't cause any of the safety cars tonight, Jordan. So you guys gave him a bit of a harsh call early on there in the chat.
He's just living up to his moniker. I think he had Gallo ahead of him. He caught the sausage curb. Oh,
Yeah,
Gallo
little
was
bit of a bump.
very lucky not to get caught out by that.
Almost lucky to roll back out on the
Yeah,
track then.
he
And
held- he
halfway he
held his
realised, hang
brakes.
on. I think he started to try and come back out and then remembered he needs to hold them. So
Yeah, he did well. Oh, Jace,
look,
it's not
Jace,
too bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a V8 driver, man, I mean, look, it's one of these things, you know, the extra bit of speed you need, the difference in these driving styles where you find that extra bit of speed. You know, it's hard, different technique. You've got to brake, you release the brake late, you trail brake left. You're harder on the brake early on, but it's all about carrying speed and let the downforce work.
Yeah.
Not that I should really talk about it because I don't know much more than you, buddy, but been watching these guys for a while and you can see the drivers that are prepared to push and put it on the limit, they're the ones that suddenly find the car grips up a little bit more and then they can push even harder. And it's noticeable, you know, you're talking 2 or 3 tenths in a corner when it works and you're like, holy hell, where did that come from? But they're the sort of moments that these guys are trying to, you know, find every lap to stay on the bubble. And at the moment, Mitch Noble putting the pressure on Sam Catagasinas. So perhaps Laguna Seca a personal favourite here, Mitch Noble, because he is showing great pace at the moment and he's attacking for P2 on the road.
He is, and he's trying to get it done round the outside of Catagasinos at the corkscrew, gets the inside line, wiggles it through. That wiggle cost him, I think, but he's genuinely in this battle at the moment with Catagasinos.
That was a dirt grab at the bottom of the corkscrew there that almost sealed his doom. A great save. And sometimes, you know, they're the little bits of luck that you need. A little moment like that doesn't kill you, and you can fight. You know, on a bad night, every time something like that happens, you end up in a death spiral. So Mitch pushing hard here, having a great drive. He has a look up the inside of Andretti, but thinks better of it. Does know that he's got a bit of pace on Sam. I wouldn't be surprised. Sam saving has Mitch not thought about the fuel numbers.
I don't think so. I think he's just pushing hell for leather at the moment, trying to get anything he can out of this car. Maybe he feels he can make it home from this point. I'm not sure. Steph's saying I should have waited, would have had a better chance in the next corner. Yeah, but he's just trying to pick up the scraps. He's trying to take anything he can. You know, and that comes with learning.
He's in the fight.
Yeah,
he's in the fight.
Exactly.
And as he said, he had a sort of bit of a look and then thought better of it. So lives to fight another day. Another great run coming out of the bottom of the hill. He's going to go around the inside. Oh, no. That was so close to contact there.
That was super close. Oh, after we were singing his praises earlier, saying he's cleaned up his act, he nearly went up the back of him there, but he's done well to pull out of it. He's got Catagasinos' teammate Gerard in behind him though, so could be a bit of a 2-on-1 situation here in just a moment. They've got Hodgkinson and Robertson behind. Gallo's dropped spots. Why has Gallo dropped down to P13 on the road?
At the moment, somewhere that we've missed.
I'm not sure. I don't know why.
Caught out on the
unless
start.
he's saving fuel for whatever reason.
Oh no,
He's had a
Jordan
pit.
Ferguson has been black flagged as well for incident responsibility lap 13. So we did say Jordan had kept it pretty clean tonight, but unfortunately has fallen afoul of the of the race control gods, and we'll have to do a little putter down pit lane.
Yeah, that'll be from him running up in behind Callum Rosanita when they all pulled up at the bus stop. So not the bus stop, at the corkscrew. So yeah, that'll be why he has given that penalty. I cannot see though why Gallo has dropped so many spots. He's within the 10. I'm not sure.
Well, it's pretty much still like DeBono. We talked about it tonight. There was even a bit of speculation that maybe Dylan was going to push too hard tonight, and maybe he'd be the one to crack and make the mistake. Now he did make a mistake in race number 1, but more importantly, it wasn't that catastrophic. He got it clean. He got it back on the road, and since then he's been faultless. And now he's got a 10-second lead over his teammate Sam, who I think is saving pretty hard. So is Dylan realising he can't save and he's pushing super hard because he needs to come in and do a splash? Is there still another tail left in tonight's race? Well, we've got almost 5 minutes to go, Hamish, and look, it's still up there. I don't know.
It feels like there's a secret chapter left at the end of this book that we don't know about. It feels like we've got, 3 to 5 pages left of the story. We'll turn 4 pages and suddenly the last page is another chapter. It's a 1-page long chapter that's still to be played out tonight. But we can't guarantee it.
It almost felt like Sam's backing him up a little bit to buy DeBono some run. And that is Bernie out on the edge. Oh, big moment from Noble as he dives deep. And that's DeBono that's on the side there, slowing down. It is.
It is DeBono. What the hell?
Is he out of fuel?
No, he's had a moment. He's missing his front wing. What has happened to Dylan DeBono?
Oh, he's broken suspension. He's pushed too hard. There is a moment. Driving by himself. Is this a bit of... Oh, he's just a little tank slap.
Oh!
That's driving on the limit. That's what happens sometimes. Is this the lifeline that David Gallo needs? Because he's going to put DeBono back, but Gallo, he needs every point he can get now. Is there still a life left in this Pro Championship? I've got Max trying to protect me here. Is there someone out there, buddy?
Well, the question now is, Cowie, if the cars who haven't pitted need fuel, that's going to put Gallo corrected to 4th position on the road, as there's 3 cars ahead of him who have pitted. Sheaf pitted on lap 7, Schmalenberg pitted on lap 11, and Roberts pitted on lap 11 as well. So that means that David Gallo, if the cars need a pit stop in the last 3.5 minutes of this race, he is corrected to P4 on the road. If they don't, then he's P9 on the road, still getting some good amount of points over DeBono. That being, he's gaining roughly, well, it's 3 points per position. He is 11 positions over DeBono. He's gaining 33 points over Dylan DeBono as Sheafy and King have had a moment. That now promotes him up to P6. Rossinides in the pit lane as well. Big gains coming for David Gallo in this race as he's now etching closer and closer to the top 5. Roberts takes the lead from Mitch Noble. I think, Cowie, I spoke about the last page of the book's going to have a new chapter. Every single page, these 5 pages, every single lap has had a new chapter, a new portion of the story, something new that we can talk about in this. DeBono out of contention for this win. Gallo, crucially, gaining big points over him right now.
Well, he gave up 28 points in race number 1. Now set to get 30 back. He was 8 behind. This is... Oh, look, every time you think things are decided, Dylan was ready. This was his moment to walk away with the championship. And he just pushed that little bit too hard in the groove. When you're right in the groove and you're on the edge, those moments can happen. A tiny little tank slap or even just slid out. And that could be the moment that, Gallo needs. And as you said, Noble, Catacasinas, Hodgkinson, they haven't pitted. And do they need to come in? Well, Roberts continues around, Noble continues around, so does Catacasinas. So does Hodgkinson. We are inside the last 2 minutes. So there's a few cars in the background there pitting as well. So I think it must be close again. Is it Noble and Catacasinas and Hodgkinson? They could still win this, but maybe they don't have enough to get back for that cool down lap. I don't know. This is close, man. I love it.
Mate, it's going to be so close. At the moment, David Gallo is 12 positions ahead of Dylan DeBono. Now, Ratcliffe's just come in, so he's now going to give DeBono a new position. That then is going to mean it's going to be 11 positions still between Gallo and DeBono. 33 points that Gallo will be gaining on him. In the final droppable round of the season, mind you, before next week, it is absolutely up in the air. It's like nothing has changed going into the last round. It seems like they're going to be on the same ballpark. Now, if Noble, Catacasinos and Hodgkinson need that pit stop, and that's big news for Gallo because he's going to gain even more points, and whether they actually come out ahead of DeBono or not, I'm not 100% sure. But we're going to have one more lap of this race as Sheafy runs it wide in the background. Currently, Roberts is in control of this one. Noble is in the pits. Catacasinos has kept going, so Noble pushed a little bit too hard for too long. Hodgkinson has stayed out. So has Schmalenberg. This now puts Gallo into the top 5 of this race. I think DeBono... Oh, is he going to actually... I think Noble may actually come out ahead of him because remember DeBono lost time having to come back to the pits with the damage. We'll have to keep an eye on it. but it is the final lap of this race. Schmalenberg trying to get himself up onto the podium to get his first overall podium of his, I believe, his F3 career at the moment, as Burns dropping a couple of spots by blinking in and out. Roberts leads the way. Final lap action, Cowie. Anything can happen.
Oh, I'm reluctant to call how things are going to stand because we've still got half a lap to go. That's what it's been like, Andrew Washburn saying, as they say, not over till the fat lady sings. Well, I think the fat lady is running out of wine in her glass as some of these cars trying to eat home on no fuel stop.
Well, Roberts has got a 5.5 second gap back to Sam Katakazinos at the moment. He's going to come round the final couple of corners. Only one corner left, just has to keep it clean here in the final run up towards the line. And Dave Robertson Pace Syndicate is going to take another win this season, crucially in the second to last round. Katakazinos is going to survive into P2 on the road, and Schmalenberg is going to get P3, his first overall podium, possibly his first AM win of the season. Hodgkinson comes home P4 second in class. Gallo, crucially, P5 on the road. Where is De Bono? He is going to come home P15, and he is going to drop 30 points to David Gallo, meaning that Gallo, all up, has gained 2 points on him in this round, meaning their gap is only 6 points going into the final round.
You know, one other thing I've just noticed too, Hamish, we're only going to be talking to 3 drivers
I
tonight.
know, I did notice that.
We've got a Pro-Am and an AM
I believe
on
this is
our outright podium. I think that's the first time it's happened.
I believe it's the first time this has ever happened since we've had all 3 classes in one split.
I think you're right. Hodgkinson, though, P4, he wasn't worried because he knows that that's almost sealed his championship. So I'm sure he was happy just to let those guys through. You fight it out. I want nothing to do with it. Let me just take my points and bank them this week.
Well, where does this put us now, Cowie? We'll obviously have an opportunity to have a quick chat about this before the drivers come in. So the scenario at play now is
Schmalenberg, Rossanita. Let's have a look at that.
Yeah.
So Schmalenberg was 3rd. Rossanita is
P16, so he has gained 30
odd points
so that's 13. That's 39 points he's gained on Rossanita.
Oh, so that closes it in. He was 63 back. I'm not sure if he got points on Rossanita in the last one, so that tightens up that AM battle. Great result there for Schmalenberg. Katakazinos, well, that's a good chunk of points for him. But again, we've talked about those weather issues he's had with the iRacing, rain not working on his computer to any satisfaction. Tessio Schmalenberg. Well, Timothy did well. Tessio, he's finished in the middle there, has he? It's at around about P20, I think. We'll also be looking at Greg Johnston.
Yeah, Jono finished P20 here tonight.
P20, okay. So Tessio a couple of spots on Jono, so he's unable to get any points back there. But, wow, look, what has happened tonight, that is crazy. We saw Gallo crash and burn, and then we've seen De Bono crash and burn for a net 2-point difference. Like, how could you have called that?
Well,
one of them was going to burn in one, and the other one was going to burn in the other.
Isn't it ironic, Cowie? Gallo got himself a penalty for trying to gain 2 points on track. Yep. At the end of the night, he gains 2 points.
2 points on track.
Yeah. It's funny how that works out, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Well, Carlin's Motorsports, they can probably thank the racing gods tonight because, that was it was just Dylan driving the car as hard as he can, as he normally does, and getting a moment. And again, it's just so refreshing to see that, even these cars that are a bit easier to drive can still be driven on the limit to the point that you cook it.
Well, it's what a wild night it's been. We just await our drivers to come into the green room to come and have a chat to us. There'll only be 3 of them. And wow. I know. Very early night for us. Very interesting. No, not
as
as
Steph
exciting.
said.
We have
what
got
a finish.
one of them in there. It's Mr. Schmalenberg, so we will drag him in just a moment and have a chat to him in his first ever overall podium, and I believe his first ever class win as well, if I'm not mistaken. I've not been told otherwise, so I'm gonna run with that. I'm gonna claim that as we will drag him in. Mr. Schmalenberg, P3 on the road for your first ever overall podium in the F3s. I believe this is also your first class win, if I'm not mistaken, in the amateur class, but I'm welcome to be corrected.
One in an earlier race this season.
Okay, yep.
Imola.
Yes.
Imola? I think it was Imola.
Yeah, I think it was Imola, yes. Well, I mean, what a wild night it was for you, of course. P3 on the road, you led for the majority of the way. You were saved by safety cars throughout the whole thing. I was kind of sitting there thinking, well, when's Tim going to lose this lead? You know, we haven't really gone long enough in green, but you did well to keep it up the front, and it paid off for you.
I think he was letting me have it for the first two stints before the safety cars, because he come pretty quick in the third one there.
So, what are the actual dimensions of your mirrors there, Tim? Because I'm sure you were watching them a fair bit during that race.
Yep, just the standard iRacing one. Yep.
Well, how was it running at the front there? I mean, you had control of the field for the restart. That's always can be a bit daunting. Have you had that before, where you've had to lead the field away?
No, that was my first and second time, so it was pretty scary. Good experience. I felt comfortable doing it.
Well, I suppose I was going to say the best part is you're not in the concertina behind, so you
exactly.
can make the call.
Yeah, exactly right.
I've been reminded by Hutto that last time you actually had apparently a shocker interview. His words, not mine, Tim. So
this one won't be any better.
I mean, Barcelona next week, mate. You got a good chunk of points for yourself here tonight over the other competitors in the AMs. I think if you can hold it together next week, you could be on for a good run, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out for you. How was it out on track, though? It was really chaotic in that second race, especially behind you on circuit, but you came round. I believe you did actually pass him. What was your thoughts when you came through the corkscrew and all of a sudden Dylan DeBono's going slow on the side of the road?
I can't tell exactly which particular thing you're talking about, but in the first race, it wasn't good at the corkscrew, and there was cars everywhere when I got to the bottom of it. So that wasn't very good, but had a couple of good battles in that second race after I stopped and I was back in 13th, 14th. So a lot of cars to pass. That didn't stop, so that was exciting.
Well, I hope this has brought you some confidence, mate, going into not only next week, but next season as well. Hopefully you can continue to rise up the rankings. And you know what? This season, you haven't Schmalenbombed your way down the rankings. You're Schmalenbombing your way up the rankings, which is good to see.
I've had a couple of shockers.
Oh, wow.
A couple of good ones too.
We won't talk about those too much, I promise. But we'll judge you on your losers, not your winners, because you've had so few this season.
Yeah.
But you've done so well so far. So congratulations on your P3 here tonight and another class win under your belt. Let us know how helps get you and JWM SimSport out on track, and anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to as well.
Yeah. Thanks to Brewed Coffee, TW Engineering, Tough Customs, TCR Fabrication, and Nulon. There's a JWM 1-2 in the AMs as well with Nick there in second. Thanks to Hutto for engineering the race as well, and Wade for everything he does for the team, liveries and all.
Oh yeah, I've just noticed that it was a Schmalenberg one too. Well, congratulations to both yourself and Nick here tonight. Best of luck at Barcelona next week, mate. Hopefully you continue on strong, and if we don't get a chance to speak to you, hopefully you have a good run, and we'll see you in between the seasons for the F1 Shadow Rounds as well.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. Well, Cowie, we've lost our other two members. Where did Katakazinos and Dave Roberts go? They were in the green room, and all of a sudden they've gone. Oh, he's back. He's back. He went up to the lounge. He's come back. Oh.
Well, let's bring Mr. Sam Katakazinos into the broadcast room, buddy. How dry was the tank there at the end?
Great expression. I'm so glad that they told me to, just pull it up at the start-finish line and do it, because after the race, I think I clutched the whole lap practically, trying to not run out. It was a fuel-safe strategy. after so many yellows for the first half of the race.
Was it always close? Was this was a quick call? It could have been either way. You weren't sure, or you had the confidence that you could definitely make it home. You felt you had the save under control.
I told my brain, go have a look at the list. Who's in the relatives under the yellow? Where do you think you're going to come out? Who's dropped into the pits and who's not? And I think I got it mostly right, except for Dave. I remember Dave going into the pits earlier in one of the yellows, and yeah, at the end of the race, he had the fuel. He didn't have the fuel save, and he came through and pulled away. And I think the rest of them, I do believe, behind me were in fuel save strategy. So I thought I'd get to have a challenge with Scott Pocock. I wasn't sure where he was standing fuel wise, but he did a mischief, which gave me some time to the next car behind, and yeah, hard on with the fuel save, using the clutch towards the end of the straight to save a bit of fuel, and I did all right, except for that lap towards the end where I should have just kept the wheels straight and engaged the clutch, then turn one, but I didn't. I turned and engaged the clutch, and I went sideways, and I lost 2 spots.
I don't know if Hamish can remember, but we look at that escape move of yours in race number 1. Do you remember the corkscrew moment, and how the hell did you get through that without taking on too much damage?
Oh, I thought I got away with this. Yeah. We're coming up to the hill, and I didn't even get a warning like from iRacing saying car right, car left. And I come down, and there's 2 cars mooching. I steered hard left. I thought I did all right, but then iRacing said, car contact 1x.
Yeah,
or
you
something.
you clipped the rear of Kai. Luckily, you didn't hit your teammate's rear end. You hit Kai Kinzelfilio's rear end, who was stuck with your teammate at that point. So you nearly got away with it, but you got like a little kiss on the front of your, I think the front right of your wing, just hit the rear wheel of Kai's car as you came through. But it was barely anything.
Yeah, I was holding my breath for the next few corners, hoping that the car was still balanced, and it was good enough. So I stayed out and tried to do the best I could.
Well,
I had the worst race start. Race 1, I I forgot my start procedure with my clutch.
Well,
and I think I was there for like a second,
Oh, no.
and I got swamped.
Well, just quickly before we let you go, obviously, Dylan had one hell of a lead over you before the final couple of minutes, and we were talking up how we didn't know if there was another chapter left in the book that we had in this race for the narrative, and then all of a sudden, you and Mitch were driving past him, and he was on the side of the road without a front wing. I assume you guys were in Discord together. What was the feeling inside the velocity rooms when that happened? Because we lost our minds. We were like, well, what's happened? How's he done this? And all of a sudden, it's now game on for next week between him and David. After he gained big points over him in race 1, he's given them all back and then some in race 2.
We were not really sure how much we could stretch fuel. So me being the older one, I guess, and the one that wants to be up the front, maybe need to fight towards the end, I decided to fuel save early, and that paid off. Dylan, he was still trying to fuel save, but he also got himself the fastest lap of the race, and then the next lap, I don't know exactly what happened. He
ran it wide at the fast left, and then caught the sand, and it put him into the wall on the left-hand side before the corkscrew. So,
you know how many times I've done that in pre-practice and practice?
It's so easy to do. It's so easy to do.
Just misalign the entry, and you get a bump. And to me, it feels like you hit a bump a wrong way, and the rear gets light, and there's the traction disappears, and away you go.
Well,
So,
look, You are the sole Velocity SimLab car on the grid. At least you made it there. I don't know if it would be an SRW grid without a Velocity machine up there on a Wednesday night. But let us know who's giving you guys all the support out there. And congratulations on P2 overall as a Pro-Am. Awesome stuff, buddy.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the team, Velocity SimLab, Hikoki Power Tools, the Here to Race YouTube channel, and thanks for you putting the league on, and all the boys on the team. And don't forget to check Velocity SimLab out on Facebook.
Very good, mate. Well, best of luck for Barcelona next week, and if we don't get a chance to speak to you, best of luck in the break races that are the F1 Shadow rounds coming up between season 2 and 3.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate. All right, we'll drag in Mr. Roberts, our race winner for Pace Syndicate here tonight. Mr. Roberts, another win for you and another win for Pace Syndicate here on Wednesday nights. Absolutely clutching it out of nowhere here in the second race. Oh, mate, what a win for you and what a win for the team.
Yeah, it was exciting. Bit of a mixed bag out there. Cards were getting shuffled and thrown on the ground and then put back together again, and that's where we ended up.
Mate, those, when you saw those guys stay out and not take that pit stop, was there ever a thought on your mind? Do you think, oh no, they can make it home, or did you think it was tight?
Yeah, I mean, it was another one of those nights where it's a bit of a gamble, and I reckon you probably could have. Were there people that did a no stopper? Did anyone?
Yeah, so Sam almost did a no stopper, and you got him there on that second last lap.
Yeah,
lap there that you got him, so he was the last of the runners, but actually the Pro Am and the Am behind you both, they turned it into a no stopper, I think.
Yeah, wow, okay. Yeah, so it was close then. I mean, I ended up with like 6 litres, so I had heaps in the end, but it was tough because I was in good position there. I was in first, and I was trying to decide whether or not to come in and pit and lose position. But at this point of the championship, I kind of had to, just to make sure I got a decent like top 10 or top 5 at the end of the night. As it worked out, I was able to climb up the top 10 and end up in good position at the end there.
We did see you in the wars in race number 1. She looked a bit hectic out there at times in that mid-pack.
Yeah, that was wild, man. I mean, I got that pit lane penalty, but it ended up working out pretty well as I was in good position for the reverse grid for the second race. So, but no, that was pretty exciting trying to come through everyone and keeping it clean.
Well, we've asked both other podium finishers here tonight about it. Obviously, you're in the battle with Sam there, and then all of a sudden, the race leader Dylan De Bono was on the side of the road going slow. What did you have any thought process when you were coming past him at that point and saw him just trundling on the side of the road, or did you not realize it was him?
No, my spotter was telling me that it was him, and I could see on the relative or whatever. So no, I knew. I mean, I was licking my chops really, but unfortunate for him, not the way I want to win a race. So. No, he was doing well out there, and I didn't think I was going to be able to catch him because he was setting laps probably
I think he might have needed some fuel, buddy. So I think you're in a pretty awesome spot there. But you know that I love a good fuel save strategy when it works, especially. So I'm always going to congratulate you. But yeah, so but I know that you picked the right time, and it counted for you. So, mate, how does it feel? Like Laguna Seca, is it a favourite? This track?
I'm not bad here. It's definitely not a favourite in this car. It's just a bit difficult to overtake, I think. You're kind of just waiting for someone to make a mistake before you can make a move. Otherwise, if you put it too wide into just about every corner, both drivers are going to lose like 2 seconds, So it's difficult here. But no, I don't mind it. I mean, we've all done plenty of time at Laguna in the come 3 rookies, so it's always the lap times are always nice and close here.
Oh, mate, congratulations on another win for yourself and Pace Syndicate here tonight. Let us know who helps get you guys out on track. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well? And for myself and Cowie, big congratulations on your victory once again.
Yeah, thanks, lads. Just a shout out to my team tonight, Pace Syndicate. We're riding high of finishing second in the majors 24 on the weekend, so just riding the wave at the moment. We'll try and keep the speed snowballing. So Thanks to the team, Pace Syndicate. Thanks, guys.
Very good, mate. Well, best of luck next week in the final round at Barcelona. And if we don't get a chance to speak to you, best of luck in the F1 Shadow rounds between season 2 and 3 coming up.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Right, Hamish, so what are we going to talk about for the next 10 minutes, buddy? We're
Oh.
short a couple of people chatting tonight.
Well, we've actually made our threshold of 9:55, so it's actually lined up pretty well. Sam having a bit of a chat with us actually helped us get there, so he done well for us in the end. But no, I mean, how can you predict what's going to happen?
Pro Am second, Am third. I mean, that is a crazy sort of result for tonight. But I suppose the big talking point is, the championship for the pros. Well, it swung one way, it swung back the other way, and we're basically back where we started with one round to go.
Yeah, it's we came into this race with De Bono and Gallo separated by 8 points after drop rounds. We then finish off race 2. De Bono had gained 28 points. The gap was up to 36 between himself and Gallo. He then drops 33 points, or 30-odd points, I believe it was. It was 30 points in race 2, dropping the gap back to only 6 points between him and David Gallo. So at the end of it all, Gallo ended up gaining the 2 points over De Bono. And next week, all he has to do to win this championship is beat Dylan De Bono by 2 positions to win the championship. It's going to be absolutely crazy.
It is still on. I mean, he may well be down a teammate. We'll just see what happens with Doug Gowans and, his license point review. But, I mean, it had a bit of everything tonight. I mean, you can't really say a boring night when there's 5 safety cars. Not that carnage means excitement, but we just saw tonight that, Laguna Seca, another one of those tracks, much like the V8s last night at Road Atlanta, where there's enough in the track there that if you push a little bit, you can make a mistake. You can get moves done. Drivers saying there it's a bit tight, but it comes down to forcing those mistakes. And we saw our fair share of them tonight.
Well, it's been an epic season so far, Cal. We've only got 1 round to go. Next week out at Barcelona for the final round of the season, as well as another F1 Shadow round to come. It's been an absolutely mega season. Had so much fun calling action with you once again. Big shout out goes out to all of our series sponsors, including Shannon's Insurance and Warren & Brown Tools, our title sponsors, as well as our other sponsors, Motorsport Australia, Shunt Scenery, NeuroPower, DSL Rail Services, and Grim Industries, the home of the V8 coffee table, which you can see on the newest season of Top Gear. If you guys haven't already, please hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon so you are notified anytime we go racing here on Sim Racing World TV. We've still got a big round to come. Obviously, tomorrow night, round 8 of the GR86 Nationals, brought to you by Shannon's Insurance and Motorsport Australia. That one will be out at Road Atlanta. Friday, Watkins Glen for the Warren & Brown Tools IMSA GTD series. And then Monday night next week is the round number 8 for the Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars Super Monday / Sunday series here on SRWtv. For myself, Hamish Munro, and Andrew Cowan alongside once again, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you taking time out of your day, out of your lives to join us here once again. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, JP and Sinker will see you tomorrow night for the 8-6s. But for myself and Cowie, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
This is amazing. It was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us.